the Illusion, reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. Yup, I'm in a car, just like I said I was going to be. I'm on my way down to Venice. Some kid wants to interview me for some project he's doing, so I'm obliging him. I'm going to skate, too. It's a win-win for everyone involved. Anyway, just buckle up. This video is going to be a gnarly one. I'm going to tell you a crazy story from my life. So, on my last video, someone commented, "You're feeling white guilt," about my last video, and I don't even know really what it is, but it's tied up in that whole racial paradigm of black and white people. And dude, I'm a human being. I don't judge a man by the content of his character, right? Not the color of his skin. That's it, right there. Anyway, so I guess I don't get the white man guilt concept, but I do understand what guilt is. And guilt is regret, something that you probably could or shouldn't have done, and that you feel guilty about. And I have, most of my life's been pretty guilt-free, and I don't regret a lot of things I've done. It's mostly things I haven't done, and that's what this story is about. This is one of my bigger moments of not acting, and I feel guilty about it, and I'll explain why. So, circa 2000, I'm working out at Milford, Pennsylvania. I'm like co-managing the Dude Ranch out there. I got, some kids working for me and stuff. And this mom with her young daughter and her teenage son, who's about 15, 16-ish, right around there. And they're like stepdad. Now, they worked for us. She was a housekeeper, and he worked in the kitchen as a line cook. And the young son, Derek, I took under my wing and had him be like one of my assistants, man. So Derek was my guy, dude. And Derek had never really had a job, so I taught him how to work and be responsible, and we got along. And you have to understand that, in these rural zones, that kids without structure kind of tend to fall off the radar and go to drugs, crime, just bad reality. So, with my position, I always try to get these young kids working for me so that, I could show them how to be free, right? And free of their own inability to access the system. Like, teach them how to access the system and, like, make a living and stuff. So anyway, I had this kid, Derek, working for me. And one night, all of a sudden, it gets crazy at the Dude Ranch. We live up on the top of the Pocono, in the Pocono Mountains, way out in the boonies. All of a sudden, there's drama and cop cars and all sorts of madness, man. And this kid, Derek, comes up pounding on, I had a little cabin at the time, comes pounding on my cabin door. And he wakes me up. It's the middle of the night. He's crying. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I forget their names, but he's like, the dude who's dating my mom's beating her up down in the trailers. There was like a staff housing area. He's beating her up down in the trailers, and the cops are here, and, it was just a giant scene going on. So I'm like, here, Derek, man, chill out, kick back. Let me go see what's going on. So I go, what's going on, man? There's guns, there's cops and sheriffs there, and it's a super radical scene, dude. So they take the boyfriend, stepdad, I forget, they take him to jail. And the mom, she was everyone's drunk and spun out on drugs and the whole thing. So she spun out on drugs and the whole thing, and she's been on notice for a while about her own working vibes. So all of a sudden, she's getting fired that night too. So this kid, Derek, is like, hey, will you adopt me so that I can stay in this school district. I don't want to leave with my mom because we're going to have to move across the river to New York, to this town called Port Jervis. I lived in Milford, which was in Pennsylvania, and across the Delaware River in New York, Orange County, New York, was this town called Port Jervis. And we used to call it the dark side because it was this beat down, really like run down town where like, you know, all the bad stuff happened. It's like where you went to like the dive bars, and it was just Port Jervis, man, the dark side. And so this kid Derek's like, dude, will you adopt me so I can stay in the school district? And Milford had like, you know, like the bitchin' school, and he was in high school, and he was doing good in school. Everything was going. He worked. He was a good kid, man. And Port Jervis is the exact opposite. Bad school, bad scene, the whole deal. And so I'm young, man, at the time, and I'm like, dude, I can't adopt you. That's too crazy for me, man. You're like 16. He's like, dude, I just need you to adopt me for like a year so I can get through school. And so, much to my regret, and I'll explain why, I say, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. This is too radical, too left field, too just outside the box. At the time, man, I'm like full-blown like alcoholic, running this dude ranch type of deal, man. I'm out of my own mind, dude. I can barely like keep myself together, more or less what he's asking me to do. So Derek ends up going to school across the river in Port Jervis, man. And, you know, so he's going to school, and I talked to him a couple times. He was really bummed on the scene, what was going on. And all of a sudden I get word that Derek's been arrested for murder. And what had happened was that Derek was with the new friends he made with these 3 kids, and they beat up this other kid, and he died. And the thing was that Derek didn't actually like participate in the beating, but he was there, and the kids all ran, and they left this kid to die on the tracks, and young kid stuff, man. And so they brought Derek up on murder because he was there, dude. And everyone testified that, like, he didn't participate in the beating. He was just the scared kid. And Derek got sentenced to, like, some giant term of, like, state prison, man. In New York State. And for me, I've always tripped on that scenario, because if I had chosen different, I don't know if it would have been any different, but I know there was a moment in my life where I could have said yes to what was in front of me and taken the really, for me, the hard road. For Derek, it looks like it would have been a lot easier road, but I should have like adopted the 16-year-old kid. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy even talking about it right now. But, it's taken me a long time to come to peace with Derek, because, there are no victims in this life. He chose his own path, unbeknownst to him at the time. Like, that was his path, and I chose mine, and a really bad outcome came of it. And, I don't even know if this kid's... I think about this kid a lot, man. He was a good kid, man. He really was. And so, since then, I've tried to always be of service to people. I've always tried to fix that wrong with the next encounter, with the next kid asking me for help. Because, I let Derek slip through my fingers, man. And, it's one of those things. So anyway, man, I guess the point I'm getting at is like, dude, I don't got any white man's guilt, whatever that is, dude. I'm a human being, man. Do I have guilt about mistakes I've made in my life? Yeah, dude, have I come to terms with them and not carried that burden around with me? Yeah. I go out of my way to correct my future encounters with people asking me for help differently than I did before. You know, I'll never get to take back that moment. But every time that some young person or some older person or anyone asks me to help them, I have a chance to correct a mistake I made that for a long time I felt extremely guilty about. And it's part of my spiritual journey of not being a victim. And no one's a victim here. We all make our decisions, and we all have to go down our own secret path to achieve enlightenment. And it's our choice whether we want to use what happens in our life to better our life down the line, or to just dwell on our problems and our mistakes and continue to make more. Like, if I would truly disrespect Derek if I didn't go out of my way to help kids today. Like, that's half my motivation with what I do with young people to help them correct the mistakes of their life, is to make up for that mistake I made that night, man. I should have just said yes, but I can't take that back, man. And so when I saw that comment, it's just so out of context, man. It's just so out of context with who I am as a human being, with how the world needs to proceed. Look, we're human beings. We all make mistakes. We're all part of like this crazy machine that's doing things. And if we don't admit our culpability in the various aspects of our life, we can't ever begin to correct the warble in the machine, man. Like, and that's half my thing. Like, bro, I don't walk around like sweating much. I don't really care about much. Like, that sounds trite, but what I'm trying to say is, like, I don't walk around with a ton of bricks on my shoulder anymore. I'm not carrying the weight of the world, dude. I'm a dude who's doing his very best to spread positive energy and help my fellow human being to elevate their energy. And yeah, it comes from me being part of whatever this is, and me making my own mistakes out of ignorance and selfishness and whatever that all is. So, you know, when I talk about these things, I just get that I just trip out on some people think like it's so shallow when it's not, man. Like, dude, we all have gnarly lives we've led, and for anyone to like watch like some videos I've made on YouTube and say I got like white man's guilt, like, that is just the most racist, preposterous, ignorant, spun out, closed-minded stuff I've ever heard, man. Like, it really tripped me out, dude. But you know what, man? I'm gonna go meet this kid down here in Venice, and we're gonna talk about making the world a better place by just us talking, man. That's the least I can do, is go meet this young person and not make another mistake of saying no to somebody, dude. Anyway, this is The Illusion. I told you that was going to be a heavy one. Anyway, man, hey, if you think about it, let's pray for Derek. I know you don't know who he is, but there's a dude somewhere out there that needs our prayer. That's a little weird. Anyway, let's just stay positive, dude.